This girl never expected that her fate would completely change in half an hour. Even now, she's excitedly waiting at the airport for the arrival of her bias, Jishan. That's right, she's one of the many fangirls. This fan's name is Jingtang, and like many other dreamers, that she also longs for the moment she meets her idol, locking eyes with deep affection. Having been to many events, she dreams even more of the scene where she is recognized by her appa. While waiting, an official announcement was posted online. The male lead for the show starting today, as a star has been changed from Jishan to Janbo. This sudden news was like a bolt from the blue for Jingtang. Although the two belong to the same group, Jingtang is very loyal to Jishan and dislikes Janbo. Now that resources have been snatched away, she is naturally indignant. She picks up her phone and becomes a keyboard warrior, posting unfounded comments online. Just then, a wave of urgency hits. Oops, too much milk tea. Jingtang needs to use the bathroom. Seeing there are still 10 minutes left, she thinks there's enough time, so she bolts toward the restroom. On the other side, the team tree makes a grand entrance, but only Jishan and Rongyu are visible. The fans, noticing Janbo is missing, all start to panic. Who knew this kid also had an emergency? At this moment, he is also rushing toward the bathroom. The two of them, in such perfect sync, dash toward the restroom. Inevitably, they collide. When they come to their senses, they realize they've swapped bodies. Jingtang opens her eyes and sees her own body lying on the ground. When Janbo wakes up, he finds himself in a girl's body. Both are stunned, not knowing what happened, and start arguing, attracting the attention of passersby. A big star arguing on the street, and quite fiercely too, it's hard not to notice. At this moment, Jishan hears the commotion and grabs the girl's body, saying, "Sorry, classmate. Janbo needs to come with me." Only then does Jingtang realize she has swapped with the black-clad Janbo. The real Janbo, in Jingtang's body, angrily grabs the man's collar and demands, "Can't you recognize me?" Instead, he's met with a cold attitude. Jishan grabs the wrist of the other body and quickly leaves the scene. A few hours ago, the girl was just an ordinary fan of the boy band tree. Now she has actually become her most hated Janbo, sitting next to her favorite, Jishan. The car is dead silent. The girl doesn't know how to start a conversation and can only bite the bullet and ask, "Jishan, have you been doing well lately?" Hearing the person beside him, Jishan takes off his headphones and asks in confusion, "Haven't you been with me this whole time?" The girl's soul is shaken. She feels like an idiot. What is she saying? If this continues, she'll definitely arouse suspicion. Rongyu, sitting in the passenger seat, is the resident jokester. He teases, "Boji, are you holding it in again? Your posture is so awkward." The girl immediately decides it's better to stay quiet. Jishan beside her also notices something wrong and glances at Janbo's body. This makes the girl panic, and she turns her head away, terrified of being exposed. To her surprise, the idol she has admired for years places his hand on her forehead and says gently, "Temperature is normal, but behavior is strange. Are you feeling unwell?" In an instant, their eyes meet. Jingtang's heart feels like it's about to explode. Who could handle this? As the car speeds up, Rongyu comforts her, "We're almost there. Hang in there. Don't pee your pants." Such a good atmosphere was ruined just like that. The elevator reaches the 18th floor. Unit 1801 is the apartment of the popular boy band. The pure black decor has a touch of luxury. The girl can't take her eyes off it. What she's most curious about right now is Jishan's room. It must be very tidy. She quietly steps forward and peeks through the door. To her surprise, Jishan is on the phone with his mother, mentioning he will send her money at the end of the month. This is a bit different from what the girl imagined. Jishan's expression in private seems very strange. Just then, a knock sounds at the door. It's the real Janbo who has found his way here. He angrily opens the apartment door and roars at the girl, "Occupying my body won't make you me." The other members think they've encountered a say-seeing fan who followed them here. Since the situation is impossible to explain, Janbo changes his tactic. He grabs Jingtang's arm and starts acting cute. "Cousin, please take me in. I had a fight with my roommate. Please, cousin." Then he whispers, "If you don't cooperate, I'll use your body to lift my skirt in front of Jishan." Left with no choice, the girl agrees. Then the real genius comes up with an idea. Let the little cousin sleep in Janbo's room, while Janbo sleeps with Jishan. For a fangirl, this is an incredible blessing. Janbo is the first to object. Who knows what that crazy girl would do to Jishan using his body? With their genders swapped, the little girl has suddenly become a big star. Now she has to share a bed with her favorite idol. It's ridiculous. To sleep with the appa she has loved for so many years. Jing Tang is, of course, willing. In desperation, Jianbo suggests the crazy girl sleep on the sofa. Unexpectedly, Jishan speaks up to resolve the issue. Jianbo is picky about beds. "You can have my room." Then he whispers to Jianbo's body, "You don't want people seeing the things in your room, do you?" Since this is the girl's real self, she starts to wonder what exactly is in the room. Does Jianbo have some unspeakable hobbies? This is a great chance to dig up some dirt. Only the real Jianbo knows the truth. His room is entirely pink. How could he let anyone see that? He'd be laughed at mercilessly. But the girl is his anti-fan and insists on going in to see for herself. When she opens the door, she is greeted by a room full of pink and cute dolls. The large posters on the wall look incredibly narcissistic. Jianbo is filled with regret. He was seen after all. The girl, now knowing this secret, turns around to close the door and say goodnight, leaving the real Jianbo looking bewildered. At this moment, an oblivious guy offers her a marshmallow, only to be scolded. Ronyu feels wronged, thinking he said something wrong. Why would this so-called cousin get so angry? After Jingtang enters the room, she carefully observes the decor and realizes Jianbo is truly a narcissist. His photos are photoshopped way too much. He's not that handsome in real life. She picks up a marker and starts renovating. First, she draws cat ears, then adds dark circles under the eyes. For an anti-fan, this is a standard move. Jianbo, in the girl's body, pushes the door open. "Crazy woman, what are you doing? What did you do to my handsome face?" It must be said, Jianbo is quite proud of his looks. During the scuffle, the phone rings, showing a contact named She-Devil. This is Jianbo's manager. Jingtang answers the phone, and a roar comes from the other side. "Brat, tomorrow's performance starts at 2 p.m. Don't be late." This reminds the real Jianbo that he completely forgot about tomorrow's commercial performance. This big star is in trouble. He'll definitely be on the trending searches tomorrow. Jingtang, feeling smug, grabs Jianbo's chin and says, "Beg me. You were pretty arrogant just now." Jianbo is furious and kicks over his stool. He's a big star. How could he beg someone for help? This is unprecedented. He grabs the uncooperative Jingtang, determined to train her. The two of them head out hand in hand, causing the two on the sofa to misunderstand that the siblings have a great relationship. A big star and an ordinary girl swapping identities. With a performance tomorrow, this is a recipe for a trending scandal. Jianbo has no choice but to start emergency training. He drags Jingtang to the room next door, Unit 1802. The three members actually turn the neighboring apartment into a practice room. This door can only be opened with a key. Jianbo gives a dead serious order. If she doesn't practice well today, no one is leaving. Jingtang is currently in a male body, stronger and taller than a girl. She thinks she has the strength to snatch the key. She grabs the girl's hand to take it, but during the struggle, an accident happens. The key slides through the crack under the door. Jingtang panics. No key, no phone. Will she die here today? She never imagined her future life would be spent with her most hated person. Jianbo teenage girls are just so prone to over-imagination. By this time, Jianbo is already dancing gracefully, hitting every beat perfectly with the music. The sight shocks Jingtang. This man she hates is actually using her body to perform a boy band dance. After finishing a full routine, he wants Jingtang to mimic and learn. Jingtang truly doesn't want to help. This man before her stole her appa's role. She hasn't settled that score yet. She's very vengeful. Even though she's a sophomore dance major, she just doesn't want to help. So she slacks off, making every movement sloppy, forcing Jianbo to teach her again and again. They train for a long time and drink all the water in the practice room. Jianbo starts to feel the urge to pee. It's a chronic issue he can't control. But this is his first time using a girl's body. He really doesn't know how to use the bathroom. Hearing the words, "use the bathroom," Jingtang is furious. Wouldn't everything be seen? How could she live with herself? Moreover, there's no toilet in this room. If push comes to shove, he'll have to settle it right there. Jingtang quickly stops Jianbo. Such an exaggerated thing cannot be allowed to happen. Jishan, seeing their strange behavior, also becomes suspicious. What are these two doing in the practice room? Gender swapped, and they don't even know how to use the bathroom. This is driving the female-bodied Jianbo crazy. Seeing Jishan arrive, Jianbo opens the practice room door and immediately rushes out to the toilet. He gets to the bathroom door, but is stopped by Jingtang. Her body is about to be seen. Actually, she has been holding in for a long time too, and hopes Jianbo can hold it. Given the situation, Jianbo comes up with a win-win idea. locking the door behind them. He suggests they go together. Since it's her own body anyway, she just shouldn't look. Jingtang has no choice but to handle her own body. She really doesn't want her body to suffer, so she has to temporarily wrong her physical self. Taking off her own clothes is a first in her life. After finishing, Zhanbo feels refreshed, but Jingtang isn't so lucky. Hearing that sound makes her want to go even more. She doesn't know when they'll swap back, and holding it in isn't a long-term solution. Is she really never going to use the bathroom? Her mind can't accept it, but her physiology must. If she doesn't know how, Zhanbo offers to teach her on the spot. Jingtang immediately jumps 10 meters away. How could such an embarrassing thing be taught? Seeing her refusal, Zhanbo doesn't push further. He just says before leaving, "Don't get too attached to my body." She thought she'd rather die than use the bathroom, but not even 10 seconds later, she couldn't hold it anymore. A minute later, she's sitting on the toilet. Because the posture is wrong and she can't handle this body well, she accidentally makes a mess on herself. Now she has to shower. Jingtang has no choice but to quickly strip Zhanbo's clothes and start bathing, promising herself she absolutely won't look. Looking might cause styes. Outside, Zhanbo is gloating. Someone said they definitely wouldn't pee, yet here they are showering. Sure enough, this woman still can't resist his charm. Then he thinks of something fun and prepares to prank Jingtang. He turns to find Jishan. Jishan, my cousin said he forgot his pajamas while showering. Could you please take them in? Jishan can't refuse such a sincere request and goes to deliver the pajamas. He calls from outside, "Zhanbo, I brought your pajamas." Although Jingtang is in a man's body, she still has a woman's soul. She's about to be seen naked by her favorite star. What should she do? Jishan, without any hesitation, pushes the door open. Jingtang freezes on the spot, motionless. She's about to, not faint. Jishan saw her showering. Even though it's Zhanbo's body, it's still very shameful. Swapping bodies and not knowing how to use the bathroom was bad enough. And now, they're even bathing for each other. Jingtang looks at the pajamas Jishan brought. They're flashy pink. This Zhanbo really is not what he seems. While changing, she notices the scars on Zhanbo's knees, likely from practicing martial arts. For tomorrow's performance, Zhanbo must have trained for a long time. If it fails, he'll surely be disappointed. But Jingtang has only practiced for one night. How could she learn the dance he practiced for so long? Jingtang cautiously pushes the bathroom door open, fearing Zhanbo is waiting to force her to practice. After scouting, she finds he's not there. Strange, where did he go? Then, Jingtang carefully sneaks into Zhanbo's room. The vanity is covered with a dazzling array of skincare products she usually can't afford. Jingtang can't help but sigh. Being a star is really great. Now she can use these high-end cosmetics. After using them, the skin feels smooth and tender. Only after applying a bunch of stuff does Jingtang realize, this isn't my face. So, she's basically doing skincare for Zhanbo. Thinking of this jerk, Jingtang gets angry. She drops the skincare products and tosses and turns on the bed. Everything happened so suddenly. It's so annoying. Will she be Zhanbo forever? What if they never swap back? While she's worrying, deafening music comes from next door. The girl guesses Zhanbo is practicing dance in the other room. He really is a fool. His body isn't his own right now. Even if he practices perfectly, he can't go on stage. Why is he so persistent? Jingtang jumps up, determined to see what's going on. In the practice room, Zhanbo is panting. He dances the routine over and over without relaxing. Jingtang knocks and enters, acting like a man. "You're waking me up." Zhanbo comes over to tease her. "Finished washing? My body is great, right? Are you infatuated with me?" But the girl likes Jishan. How could she be interested in this man? Zhanbo calls her visionless, claiming his body is much better than Jishan's. Then a bad idea pops in his head. He tells her, "On my phone, I have many private photos of Jishan. Yishan asakid, Yishan naked." He strikes Jingtang's weakness precisely. Using Jishan's private photos as bait, he demands Jingtang learn the dance. Now the girl is full of energy, as expected of a dance major. But her skills are no joke. Zhanbo thinks it's pretty good. Tomorrow's performance should be fine. He takes out a photo of Jishan and gives it to Jingtang. Jingtang excitedly takes it. What? This is clearly Zhanbo as a child. Tricked again. For tomorrow's performance, Jingtang practices a few more times. A while later, as dawn is about to break, she collapses on the sofa for a nap. At this time, Zhanbo isn't tired at all. He's full of energy. Holding a change of clothes, he heads straight for the bathroom. Jingtang sees his intent. Is this kid going to shower? Then her body will be seen. Jingtang quickly chases after him, shouting pervert. A man shouldn't fuss over small things, but he didn't expect it to be this troublesome. He can only turn off the lights so that nothing can be seen. Jingtang thinks to herself that Zhanbo isn't too bad. He's quite the gentleman. 1 second she's immersed in his kindness. The next second a sound comes from the bathroom. He accidentally bumped into something. After the shower, when Zhanbo comes out, Jingtang is already fast asleep on the sofa from exhaustion. Zhanbo brings a blanket to cover her, claiming he doesn't want his own body to catch a cold. But in truth, he feels a bit of sympathy for the girl. She worked hard practicing all day. The next day, on the stage of the commercial performance, Jingtang is still just a student. This is her first time on such a big stage. Seeing so many audience members, a sense of nervousness courses through her whole body. Zhanbo set up an earpiece for her to communicate in case of emergencies. The host announces, "Next, please welcome the popular boy band, Tree, for their performance." As the leader, Zhanbo takes the lead. Although nervous, she vows to succeed. She can't let others look down on her. The lights flash, and fans shout the names of the 3 members. Jingtang's heart is nervous to the extreme. As the music starts, she begins the stage performance. Since they haven't rehearsed together, she keeps bumping into teammates. The audience also notices the slips, and attention starts shifting to Zhanbo. Jingtang was already nervous, and because of the frequent errors, bad memories surface in her mind. It was a piano exam where Jingtang underperformed and was mocked. This was probably the darkest moment of her life, one she couldn't escape. Just then, a voice comes through the earpiece. "Jingtang, don't panic. Don't lose the rhythm. Turn around gracefully and return to where you should be." This moment felt very long, but the moment she heard Zhanbo's voice, her time started flowing again. Swapping bodies with a hated star and having to complete a performance for him. What a twist of fate. The girl receives encouragement from Zhanbo and successfully completes the performance. Even the cold Ji Shan silently encourages her. It's finally over. Zhanbo's evaluation is barely passing. The 3 go backstage. Jingtang repeatedly apologizes to the other 2 members. She feels very guilty about the mistakes on stage and gives a deep 180-degree bow. This behavior feels foreign to Ji Shan and Rongyu. The real Zhanbo would never do this. Ji Shan steps forward and lifts Zhanbo's forehead. "Lift your head, Zhanbo. You never bow your head." Rongyu also catches this little slip and playfully rubs his brother's head. "You used to bully me. Now I support you bowing more." Seeing Zhanbo about to explode, Rongyu immediately flees. Just then, a voice comes from the corner. "Even this kind of mistake happens? Your skill is only SOSO." Jingtang turns to see Xiao Bei in the corner. Having practiced for such a short time, the performance was decent. But on second thought, there were indeed mistakes, so she could only offer a prideful apology. Just then, the girl's phone rings. It's Li Zi. This is the girl's roommate. Not seeing her all night, she must be worried sick, hence the frantic calls. The call is answered, and Li Zi screams, "Jingtang, are you crazy? You didn't come back to the dorm last night, and you didn't reply to texts. You didn't even show up for today's performance exam. Do you have any idea how important today's exam was? Do you have some guy out there?" After a busy day, Jingtang finally remembers she had a performance exam at school. Grabbing her phone to check messages, she sees Li Zi's frantic searching and phone bombing. Zhanbo had seen these messages long ago, but intentionally ignored them. For Jingtang, this exam is very important. It affects her final credits. If she misses it, this year's scholarship, she could forget about getting it. But Zhanbo is still arguing. "So what if it's important? If not for me today, you'd probably still be standing like an idiot on stage being laughed at. Compared to your little exam, this performance is much more important." These words blurted out, triggering Jingtang's painful memories. In Zhanbo's eyes, her affairs are trivial and not worth mentioning. The person in front of her may be a big star, but his character is truly terrible. Jingtang is utterly disappointed in him. She throws the phone, which scratches his face, and leaves in disappointment. Zhanbo feels a bit uneasy. This stupid woman hit his own face, and the phone she threw was his own. What kind of revenge is this? Little did they know, all of this was filmed by someone with hidden motives in the corner. Genders swapped, and a conflict occurs, all captured by someone malicious who wants to use it for blackmail. This person is none other than another member of the Tree team. He shows the assault video to the leader, jokingly saying their downfall won't benefit him. Who knew the leader, Chun-yi, was an upright person. He snatches the phone and deletes the photo, advising Xiao Bei not to record others' privacy. Instead of this, go home and practice your dancing. They also participated in the stage performance just now, and Xiao Bei's dancing was terrible, even dragging the whole team down. After saying that, he leaves, but Xiao Bei hasn't changed his mind. No one can stop his intent to harm others. He picks up his phone and silently restores the photo. In the tree apartment, the performance is over, and Jingtang is tossing and turning in bed. Because of this performance, she missed her school exam and won't get the scholarship, and she was even mocked by Zhanbo. All this drives Jingtang crazy. She grabs a pillow and hits it hard to vent. This scene is seen by the other members, who think the performance failure drove Zhanbo insane, even suspecting he's mentally unstable. Jishan remains calm and tells the little genius to shut up. As for this insane behavior, the real Zhanbo isn't bothered, thinking he'll come out of the room when he's hungry. No need to worry. Just then, Jingtang's phone rings. Li Zi sends good news. Teacher 1 is in East Building 101. Want to go for a retake? You've worked so hard to keep high grades. If this course gets a 0, your scholarship is definitely gone. After seeing the message, Zhanbo understands why she was so angry and plans to help the girl by going to the school for the retake. Jingtang, hearing that he's going to the school to help with the retake, immediately gets dressed and appears before him. The big star hasn't been back to school in a long time. Looking at the scenery, he actually thinks it's quite nice. Jishan also went to this school, so he boldly guesses, did the girl attend this school just for Jishan? He actually guessed right. The extent of her love for Jishan far exceeds Zhanbo's imagination. Li Zi has been waiting at the classroom door for a long time. Seeing Jingtang's body, she rushes forward excitedly. Why are you just getting here? Teacher 1 is about to end class. Her eyes wander, and she notices a wild man following behind. These words almost make the real Jingtang faint. Li Zi, I'm the real Jingtang. The person you're holding hands with is the wild man. The exam begins. The content is theatrical performance. The role drawn is Ophelia from Hamlet. But at school, Zhanbo always played Hamlet. He doesn't remember Ophelia's lines. Now he's stumped. Seeing Teacher 1, Zhanbo immediately starts acting. Teacher 1, sorry I'm late. I came early for the exam, but on the way I saw a kitten hit by a car. I took it to the hospital, but it couldn't be saved. I'm sorry, teacher. Please give me another chance for a retake. Teacher 1 is moved to tears by this sincere performance and quickly invites the girl in for the retake. A big star is indeed different. His acting is so convincing he fooled the teacher completely. He turns and gives Jingtang a little wink. The plan worked. No need to worry about the exam anymore. Zhanbo goes in for the exam. Li Zi becomes interested in this handsome guy and quietly approaches this wild man. She asks, was my tang-tang with you last night? When did you two start? You didn't even tell your best friend about having a boyfriend. That's so cold. Hearing her best friend's words being so provocative, Jingtang explodes. How am I being cold? After Li Zi sees her face clearly, it's like a bolt from the blue. She's frozen on the spot. Is she blind? She seems to be seeing the big star, Zhanbo. Jingtang steps forward and covers Li Zi's mouth, telling her to be quiet. Li Zi thinks to herself, wow, Jingtang, you're amazing. You actually brought a big star back. Who knew that in the next second, the Zhanbo before her would make a wild claim? I'm Jingtang. The one inside is Zhanbo. Li Zi can only think he's crazy. Either that, or he's changing the subject. Soul swapping is even more unbelievable. This isn't some cliché shoujo manga. She maintains an impossible look, assuming something happened between them last night. Then Jingtang uses her trump card. Today is Monday. You're wearing red underwear. Tomorrow is orange. Li Zi recoils 3 steps. This man, how does he know this? Only her closest person would know. In that case, the girl inside really is Zhanbo inside. Zhanbo is taking the exam. Dealing with such a simple theatrical performance is easy for him. His delivery and emotions are excellent. He passed. However, the character performed was Hamlet, while the topic drawn was Ophelia. Zhanbo explains that cross-gender acting is more challenging. In truth, back in his school days, he always played the male lead and knew the lines by heart, so it was effortless. That's why he chose it. Zhanbo walks out of the exam room confidently. I passed. How are you going to thank me? Tang Dang is also very happy. This is great. She decides to treat him to matcha ice cream. The 3 arrive at the dessert shop. After explaining everything, Li Zi finally believes them. Zhanbo, free from his big star body, can enjoy the food without restraint. This feeling is great. No one following or monitoring him. He can do whatever he wants. He doesn't know how long it's been since he was this free. Maybe being ordinary for a while isn't so bad. Bo is happily enjoying his freedom, but Jing Tang, with a handsome face, is suffering, forced to wear a mask. Watching Bo from the side, Bo sees she's pitiful and specifically leaves half for her to enjoy. But with so many people around, it wouldn't be good to take off the mask. Bo has a way. He stands up, takes off his coat, and drapes it over Jing Tang's head. Eat quickly before it melts. Somehow, under the thick coat, Jing Tang feels her heart skip a beat. A top male star and a female college student swap bodies. The big star enjoys freedom for the first time. Xiao Li, sitting nearby, can't stand the way they're eating ice cream. Jing Tang takes off the coat, not planning to eat anymore. Indeed, it's inconvenient for stars to go out. Just then, Bo's manager calls. The voice on the other end says frantically, Bo, what's going on with you? Look at the trending searches. Performance mistakes and assaulting a girl. What's with the photos? Do you want to retire early or go to heaven? I'm giving you one day to come up with a solution. After a deafening roar, the call is disconnected. Bo remains calm, taking Jing Tang's hand to head back to the apartment. Before leaving, the girl doesn't forget to tell her roommate to remember to send her the notes. Lizzie is a complete sleepyhead in class, so where would she get notes? Jing Tang could only say a socially awkward goodbye in the elevator. She peeked at the brooding Bo beside her, feeling like she had caused a disaster. Bo picked up the girl's phone and discovered a shocking secret. This girl was not only a fan of Jishan, but also his own anti-fan. The Weibo trending searches were about to explode. Bo hits person with phone backstage. Bo's performance failure. Bo's stage accident. All of this was caused by Jing Tang. Jishan's little Tang Tang, you intentionally smeared me as my anti-fan. Are you happy seeing me so miserable? Bo stepped forward to question her. He even seriously suspected that the photos on the trending list were a setup orchestrated by Jing Tang. The girl was instantly shocked. She hadn't expected that in this big star's eyes, she was such a malicious person. She didn't want to explain too much. After being misunderstood, she directly admitted to hating Bo because he had stolen Jishan's resources. The elevator doors slowly opened. Neither of them was in a good mood. One was being attacked on the trending searches, and the other was misunderstood as a scheming woman. All their good spirits had vanished. Even little Rong, you suspected Bo, had hit his sister and even checked Jing Tang's face for wounds. Jing Tang was so upset by the misunderstanding that she slammed her room doors shut with a bang. Those who didn't know the truth thought she was unhappy because of the trending searches. The thoughtful younger brother even bought a lot of delicious food, believing that eating away one's troubles was the best solution. He was a true foodie. Seeing Bo ignoring him, Rong Yu grabbed Jing Tang and pulled her to the supermarket for snacks. But the girl in front of him was actually his brother. Unable to resist the strength, Bo was dragged away. Only after they left did he realize now only Jishan and that Weaver girl were home. Surely nothing unexpected would happen, right? The girl was sad about being misunderstood, but unexpectedly received care from her idol, and they even shared a secret base. At this moment, Jing Tang was extremely depressed. She had tried her best to perform on stage, yet Bo called her a stalker. The girl decided to just let things go south. She wouldn't help him anymore. Jishan saw his teammate was sad and came to comfort her. How long are you going to stay this gloomy? It was also the first time Jishan had seen Bo cry like this. No matter how much grievance he had suffered before, he had never been this sad. Jing Tang didn't want her idol to worry, so she held back her tears and said she was fine. But the tears just wouldn't stop falling. She looked nothing like someone who was fine. Jishan took Jing Tang's hand. Come on, let's go to the secret base. Jing Tang was shocked. These two brothers actually had a secret? Actually, this secret base was just the rooftop of the apartment. It looked ordinary. But after pushing open the door, one could see the infinitely vast starry sky. Jing Tang was stunned by the sight and couldn't help but blurt out, "So beautiful." Jishan said, "What are you surprised about? It's not like it's your first time here." The clumsy-tongued Jing Tang almost gave herself away again. Jishan tossed her a bottle of beer, telling her to drink while waiting for the others to return with food. Jing Tang caught the beer perfectly. Remembering the last time she drank a bottle with Lizzie and started talking nonsense, she decided to drink less this time. Jishan took a beer and drank it in one gulp. The surroundings were very quiet, and the sound of swallowing could be heard clearly. Sitting so close to Jishan and watching him drink felt like a dream. The girl was about to faint from happiness. Noticing the light in her eyes, Jishan asked, "What's wrong? Is today different from usual? If you're unhappy, shout at the stars. The stars will hear you, and so will I." After hearing those comforting words, the girl felt she liked Jishan even more. So she followed suit and shouted at the stars, "I hate Janbo the most. Janbo is a big jerk." This move left Jishan stunned. What kind of drama was it to curse oneself? A female college student had accidentally swapped bodies with a popular male star. At this moment, the male star was eavesdropping in a corner. Hearing how the girl was cursing him, Jingtang even used the male star's body to get close to her favorite idol. It was all so frustrating. After venting, the girl finally asked the question buried deep in her heart. Speaking as Janbo, she asked about that drama. "If I took your lead role, would you be angry?" Jishan felt that the person in front of him must be lightheaded from drinking. It was clearly he who had asked Janbo to fill in for him. Jingtang suddenly realized it was all a misunderstanding. It wasn't a case of stealing a role. The two were very good friends. Upon learning the truth, Jingtang felt guilty and ashamed. Her previous behavior as an anti-fan was truly embarrassing. "Sister, what are you hiding here and looking at?" Romeo had bought fried chicken and caught the eavesdropping Janbo red-handed. Now, telling him to be quiet was useless. The two on the rooftop had already discovered their sister eavesdropping. Jingtang was even more embarrassed. Hadn't all her cursing just now been heard? Her heart was in a state of extreme conflict. She had just learned it was all a misunderstanding. Should she apologize? But he had spoken so harshly, and she had almost missed her exam. Yet, in the end, he had taken the exam for her. While Jingtang was struggling with her thoughts, she suddenly felt something cold on her cheek. She looked up to see matcha ice cream that Janbo had specifically brought for her. Even though he had specifically run to the school to buy it, Janbo remained stubborn and refused to admit it. Holding the matcha ice cream, Jingtang felt a bit touched. She hadn't expected this big star to remember. Perhaps he was actually a considerate person. Seeing that Janbo was in a bad mood and seemed worried about the trending searches, Jingtang decided to apologize. As she moved closer, she noticed that the broken phone screen had already been repaired. Her opinion of Janbo began to change. Until this three-cup drunkard turned around and started talking nonsense, questioning his own body. "Why does your face look exactly like mine? Let me take a good look." He grabbed Jingtang's collar and leaned down. With one slip, both of them fell into the pool. A popular male, Star had actually swapped bodies with an anti-fan, and after drinking too much, he unfortunately fell into the water. To save him, Jingtang actually lost her first kiss. Jingtang was dragged into the water by the drunken Janbo. The girl had never learned to swim and cried out that she was drowning. But she forgot that her current body was Janbo's. The pool's depth was only about 1.6 meters, reaching just to his chest. It wasn't deep enough to drown him. Then she realized, isn't 1.6 meters her own actual height? That meant the current Janbo was in danger. Her sister's body had instantly floated into the deep water zone, which was 2 meters deep. Now, the girl's mind was in Janbo's body. Logically, she should have the swimming skill, but what if she didn't? Wouldn't that be 2 lives lost in one body? Jishan saw her hesitation and immediately jumped into the water, searching everywhere for his sister. After finding Jingtang, he grabbed her arm and pulled her up, carrying her to the edge of the pool. He placed her on the ground. Janbo was currently at his last gasp. Jishan didn't hesitate to take off his shirt, cover Janbo, and begin CPR. After a while, there was still no reaction. Janbo needed to perform artificial respiration. It was truly a case of bringing trouble upon oneself, since he was currently Jingtang's brother. If he didn't do it, who would? The thought of kissing oneself was strange, but saving a life was more important. Jingtang leaned closer to her own body and began artificial respiration. Having unexpectedly soul-swapped into the body of the male star she hated most, Jingtang thought they would eventually swap back. Who knew this kid would drag her into the pool, nearly killing her? Now, the biggest problem was Jingtang's body. Only 1.6 meters tall, she would have died in a 2-meter pool. At the critical moment, Janbo's body gave her artificial respiration, opening her eyes to see herself kissing herself. This scene was intense. A grand man had actually been forcibly kissed by a girl, and it was with his own body. Jingtang didn't want this to happen either. This was her first kiss. Jishan feared they would catch a cold and urged them to go downstairs and change. Janbo inappropriately leaned on Jishan, saying, "Thanks, bro." This left Jishan completely bewildered and almost exposed the secret. Jingtang inwardly cursed this idiot. Before 10 o'clock, Janbo was already lying in bed, looking unwell. Jing Tang touched his forehead. He had a bit of a fever, likely from catching a cold in the water. She hadn't expected her own body to be so weak. She then brought a blanket and covered John Bo, hearing him mutter in his sleep, "I didn't. Why are you smearing me?" Being a star wasn't easy. He was still thinking about these things, even in his dreams. Jing Tang watched as rumors popped up one by one on the phone, and she felt uneasy. She once attacked John Bo without knowing the truth and was one of his anti-fans. How could she make up for it now? A flash of inspiration gave her a good idea. She picked up her phone and quickly typed, "I am the girl being hid in the photo. I want to reveal the truth." She explained the whole story and hit send, hoping it would work. After giving her blanket to Jean Bo, Ji-shan felt bad for her and invited her to share his bed. You have to know, this was the god in her heart. Now, they were going to sleep together. She was shy and tired. After being an anti-fan for years, she was now lying in the same bed as him. The girl's heart rate hit 180. The atmosphere under the bright moonlight was so beautiful. Jing Tang, with the mindset of it's a waste not to look, shyly turned her head. His perfect profile emitted a faint scent. This was what they call the girlfriend's perspective, right? Jing Tang quietly tested to see if Ji-shan was sound asleep. When there was no sound from the other side, she knew she couldn't miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. She took out her phone and, click, captured a photo of her idol in bed from a girlfriend's perspective. At this moment, Jing Tang was excited to the extreme. Swapping bodies with Jean Bo was truly wonderful. For this moment, everything was worth it. She could die without regrets. The next morning, Ji-shan felt like a 1,000-pound rock was on him, making it hard to breathe. He opened his eyes to find Jean Bo's body wrapped all around him. This kid's sleeping posture was truly terrible. He hurriedly pushed him away and called for Jean Bo to wake up. Jing Tang opened her eyes and discovered something incredible. Little Jean Bo had stood up. This was an experience the girl had never had before. Ji-shan thought nothing of it. Isn't this normal? It's a physiological reaction all boys have. Only then did Jing Tang react, feeling like she had missed out on a fortune. On the other side, inside the talent agency, things weren't so pleasant. Chun-Yi was making a scene, dragging that stalker into the office and throwing the culprit in front. Xiao Bei remained unrepentant, completely failing to understand his actions. Until Chun-Yi laid out all his misdeeds. He didn't want to be in a group with such an unscrupulous person. He wanted to go solo. The leader of another subunit of the group tree learned his teammate had framed someone and demanded to go solo. This infuriated Xiao Bei. Even now, he thought it was a small matter, but he couldn't change Chun-Yi's mind. A boy band that secretly filmed and spread rumors about others wouldn't go far. The condition for leaving the group was to pay the company a large contract termination fee. 1 million was no small amount, but nothing could bind Chun-Yi's integrity. He was determined to leave. Inside apartment 1801, little Rong-yu, holding bread and full of energy, pushed open the door and startled John Bo. He found he had an extra blanket. He hadn't expected Jing Tang to be so kind as to give her blanket to him. So the question was, how did she sleep last night? Rong-yu picked up a piece of bread and answered, "You mean Bo-ji? Bo-ji gave you the blanket last night and slept in Shan-Ji-Yi's room." Jean Bo went crazy upon hearing this. Wouldn't that be leading a wolf into the house, a sheep entering a tiger's mouth, and forcing someone into a difficult position? Countless wretched images flashed through his mind. Rong-yu looked on, completely confused. Jean Bo threw off the blanket to start catching them in bed operation. After opening the door, he shouted recklessly, "You actually slept with Ji-shan while I was sick." But Jing Tang had done nothing. Unable to swallow her anger, the two began to bicker and scuffle. Rong-yu suddenly felt their world was too hard to understand. He'd better just stick to eating bread. This kind of scene happened more than once or twice. Rong-yu sat on the sofa, leisurely scrolling through his phone, only to discover something incredible. Bo-ji has been cleared. He saw today's trending clarification and rushed to open the door to tell them. Jean Bo grabbed the phone and saw the trending content. Little Tang Dang had revealed the truth, saying she was the one who was secretly filming and that it wasn't what the online rumors claimed. Now Jean Bo was cleared. Rong-yu cheered that it was great and a success, but Jing Tang was now under attack. The comment section was filled with curses. Exposing herself as an anti-fan and taking all the blame, it was all too stupid. This act moved Jean Bo. He picked up a piece of bread to feed Jing Tang, but Jing Tang looked like she was refusing. Then Lizzie called. The school musical had started rehearsals. Jingtang had to go back to rehearse. The one playing the princess couldn't be absent. A princess again? Jean-Bo was stunned. With their bodies swapped, the girl could only shamelessly beg the man to help with the play. This was a very important performance. That day, someone would also come to watch the stage play. Jean-Bo thought about how Jingtang had helped clear his name, causing public opinion to flip. He owed her one, so he'd help out. It wasn't a loss, anyway. But there was a condition. As for what it was, he hadn't decided yet and would tell the girl once he did. The two agreed to go to school, but Jean-Bo took her to the commercial street first to upgrade her gear. The commercial street was lined with shops of all sizes. Jean-Bo chose the most luxurious one. Upon entering, the sales assistant warmly introduced the items as being by a famous designer. Jingtang saw the high prices and suggested going back, saying the dorm had plenty of clothes to wear. Jean-Bo didn't want to, feeling those clothes were too shabby to be seen in public. Besides, this body was currently his. Before long, he chose the latest model in the shop and went to the fitting room to change. Seeing how expensive they looked, Jingtang pulled the guide aside to ask the price. When she heard a set of clothes cost over 20,000 yuan, Jingtang's jaw nearly dropped. This Jean-Bo was truly extravagant. It was inhumane, but she had to admit his taste was excellent. After changing, he immediately looked like a different person. Jingtang changed her tune. Humph, that's only because the person is good-looking, so everything looks good. This praise led the guide to mistake them for a couple. The boyfriend is a smooth talker, and the girlfriend is beautiful. Truly a match made in heaven. Both thought to themselves, match my foot. Who would know they were enemies? Poor smooth-talking sales assistant. Inside the auditorium of Sakura University, everyone was rehearsing diligently. Jingtang arrived with Jean-Bo, attracting everyone's attention. So that's Jingtang, the one playing the female lead. She looks ordinary. How did she push out the school bell? Mu Cheng. She's even wearing the newly released model. Could she be a kept woman? Jean-Bo heard the gossip and felt he had bought the wrong clothes, causing trouble for the girl. Jingtang didn't care. There were always people talking behind her back. It was the price of being excellent. Seeing the girl enduring it in silence, Jean-Bo couldn't sit still. With a graceful turn, he walked toward the two gossips. Standing before them, he scolded, "Does your family sell aged vinegar or lemons? Why do I smell such a strong sour scent as soon as I walk near you? You and her clothes are both bargain bin trash." The gossip was about to strike back, but was stopped by Jean-Bo's body. "I don't mind you hitting a woman." This domineering sentence left the gossip shocked on the spot. What's it like for a man and woman to swap bodies? Never mind the daily bickering. Now Annie Flo had arrived. This allowed a man to experience the pain of being a fan. The two stood at the rehearsal ground, smiling affectionately at each other because they had helped each other vent their anger. Li Zi, who knew the truth, took out the script and handed it to Jingtang. "This is your script. Rehearsal is here this afternoon." Jean-Bo took the script and skimmed it. With a big star's talent, this was a small scene, not difficult at all. Rehearsal began, and Jean-Bo performed according to the lines, but the director didn't seem very satisfied. Although he had a girl's body, he still had a man's mind. The acting was too stiff. How to make a man play a fragile, desperate female college student. This was too difficult. Jean-Bo was about to change his acting style when his palm touched the floor. He was stunned. Bloodstains were everywhere. What was happening? Jean-Bo was bewildered. Could he have a terminal illness and be about to die? He tried to hide it from his good friend Li Zi. Li Zi stepped forward and, between laughter and tears, shouted to Jingtang below the stage. "Jingtang, your period is here. This thing, it didn't come early or late, but had to come during the performance." How was Jean-Bo, a man, going to deal with this? Jingtang quickly stepped forward, took off her jacket, and wrapped it around Jean-Bo so it wouldn't be seen. But that wasn't the main point. Now that the period was here, Jean-Bo, a man, wouldn't know how to handle it. Jingtang felt this was a rare opportunity he should experience. Then Li Zi took out a sanitary pad and stuffed it into Jean-Bo's hand. "Take this and go quickly." 15 minutes later, Jean-Bo was squatting in the toilet, studying it. How exactly do you use this thing? It was truly too difficult. A big star had mysteriously turned into a girl and had to experience the pain of a period. What a strange experience. While Jean-Bo was in the toilet studying how to use the pad, the two gossips were right behind him. They planned to carry out their revenge plan. It was time to settle the score. Inside the restroom, Jean-Beau was unaware, still complaining. Why is this pad so chilly? Min trovoret. It's really uncomfortable. Being a girl is too hard. The next second, a bucket of cold water came down from above. Jean-Beau was soaked like a drowned rat. How could a man endure such an insult? He kicked the restroom door hard. The two villains were caught red-handed. He flipped the bucket over the lemon spirit's head, earning a round of cursing. Jean-Beau's vengeful nature didn't change even in a girl's body. Drenched, Jean-Beau returned to the stage. Lizzie exclaimed, "Did you fall into the toilet?" Jingtang thought of those two women and instantly understood what happened. She rolled up her sleeves to go for revenge. "No need, I've already handled it." Jingtang felt sorry about all this. It should have been her enduring it. This time, Jean-Beau took the soaking for the girl. Last time, the girl endured the public opinion for him, so they were even. The two reached a friendly agreement, looking perfectly matched. Lizzie was also fed a face full of PDA. Seeing Jean-Beau had been soaked with cold water, she suggested taking him to the dorm to change. Then Jishan called. Jingtang turned into a different person, like a fangirl, answering the phone with a beaming face. She learned there was an interview tonight for the drama they were starring in. Don't forget, Jingtang pulled Jean-Beau to go home. But Jean-Beau couldn't take it. Having just been splashed with cold water, his stomach hurt so much he couldn't stand. So Jingtang had to go back first, leaving the girl's body to be cared for by Lizzie. Before leaving, Jean-Beau didn't forget to remind Jingtang. Jishan is quite passive. During the interview, throw some topics his way so he doesn't have nothing to say. The Jean-Beau in her memory wasn't like this. Now he was both meticulous and caring toward his teammates. He was a good man. The two made a friendly pact, and Jean-Beau set off. Soul swap between genders encountering a special situation. Out of necessity, Jingtang had to take Jean-Beau's place for the interview. Inside the studio, the popular boy band Tree made a grand entrance. Tree was the most popular boy band in the country. Hearing they were also going to star in a drama recently. Regarding the host's introduction, Jingtang couldn't stay calm. It was her first time having a formal interview, and she had to use a man's identity. Soon they reached the QA session. The host said, "What are Tree's future plans? Will you develop in other areas?" Jingtang hadn't expected such a tough question right at the start. Before she could react, little Ronyu blurted out, "I don't have any plans. I'll just follow my brothers. Tree will definitely be together always. Even when we're old, we'll be an old boys group." His answer was very innocent. Seeing things going south, Jingtang immediately switched roles, mimicking Jean-Beau's manner as a leader. "Yes, we won't forget our original intention. Tree's heart is the stage for the three of us together. If there are other opportunities, we will also try. Recently, Jishan and I will also appear in the same drama." Saying this, she threw the question to Jishan, giving this passive person a chance to perform. Jishan understood instantly and took over. "Yes, the new drama is our first attempt to step off the stage." Then a reporter asked, "This is the first time you two are collaborating on an idol drama. We heard the female lead this time is Miss Yaru. Miss Yaru has been a child star and a veteran actress since she was young. Do you two feel pressured?" Jean-Beau forced a calm smile and replied, "Pressure is also motivation. We will work hard to improve our acting skills and abilities while working with Miss Yaru." After answering, Jingtang breathed a sigh of relief. So far, everything was perfect with no flaws. Question 3. Fans are curious. The three of you have different personalities. How did you come together to become today's popular boy band? This question was truly beyond the scope. Any made-up story would be wrong. Luckily, she had been wearing Bluetooth earphones from the start. Time to call for help, she called Jean-Beau. This scene was seen by Jishan, who was still wondering why he was making a call. Meanwhile, in the school dorm, Jean-Beau was in agonizing pain, feeling like he was dying. He now somewhat admired Jingtang for being able to endure this pain every month. The phone rang, and Jingtang asked Jean-Beau to recall why the three of them came together. Jean-Beau told the truth without thinking. When they first met, Jishan was singing. He was very dazzling back then. Jean-Beau and the manager stopped to watch. Halfway through, Jean-Beau was in such pain that he hung up and rushed to the toilet. In the studio, Jingtang could only say the first half. Only then did Jishan realize it was all a routine. As for little Rongyu's side, it was very simple. He was bribed with snacks when he was a trainee. The food was good and the people were nice, so he decided to follow them. Actually, this was also part of Jishan's routine, one link after another. That was how the three of them were recruited. A popular male star visits a girl's dorm at night, actually to bring medicine to a man on his period. Inside the Tree apartment, it was already late at night. night. The three only finished their day's work and returned home exhausted. Little Rong Yu wanted to shower and go to bed, even joking if anyone wanted to join. Compared to this, Jishan was more concerned about what scheme the manager and Janbo used when they first joined the group. Fortunately, the phone rang and Jingtang covered it up. It was Li Zi calling. Janbo, in the dorm, had been soaked and his menstrual cramps were so painful his face was pale. With the dorm curfew, Li Zi couldn't go out to buy medicine. She didn't know what to do and could only call Jingtang for help. Jingtang knew the pain of a period and dragged Jishan out the door. They first went to a pharmacy, where Jingtang very skillfully picked up a box of cramp medication. This behavior made Jishan suspicious. Buying medicine is one thing, but why be so secretive? It wasn't the first time, after all. It turned out Janbo had bought cramp medicine before. The two bought the medicine and went to the teaching building. Lizzie tied a rope from upstairs to get the medicine. Unexpectedly, she was too slow and was caught red-handed by the dorm matron. A popular male started running to a pharmacy at midnight for cramp medicine and breaking into a girl's dorm, only to be caught by the matron. It seems they'll be on the trending searches again tomorrow. Jingtang led Jishan on a wild run. Jishan was curious. How was this kid so familiar with the terrain? Jingtang explained she had been here 5 or 10 times, mainly because her sister had many things going on. Jishan didn't believe such lies. Janbo spent most of his time training and performing. How could he have time to come to school? Jishan was already suspicious. Jingtang wondered if she should confess everything, the fact that she and Janbo had swapped bodies. But if she confessed, the benefit of sleeping while hugging Jishan would be gone. Not only would the benefit be gone, where do you think Jingtang's image as a Saising fan would plummet? That would be too embarrassing. Jingtang thought about it. Better not say anything. While the two were hiding in the bushes waiting for a chance to leave, a pair of large hands from behind pulled them out. The next day, as expected, they were on the trending searches. The manager had to bail them out of the station at dawn. It was all too ridiculous. The two were quite calm, but Rongyu was recounting it all. Why didn't you take me for such a fun thing? Rongyu still had a child's character, only thinking about playing. Since it happened, it had to be resolved. Jishan picked up his phone to post on Weibo. The trending search is true. Reason, bringing medicine to Janbo's cousin. Just as he was about to send it, Jingtang grabbed the phone. You can't post that. The cousin can't be exposed. Can we change the reason? This kind of move made Jishan feel he was even weirder. He could only change the reason. The trending search is true. Janbo accompanied me back to the school dorm to pick up some things. It was dark, and we went to the wrong building. Sorry. Inside the girls' dorm, Janbo felt much better after taking the medicine. He checked the trending searches and understood the cause and effect. Couldn't help but praise those two big idiots. Tonight was the formal performance. Lizzie had personally made the princess dress and wanted Janbo to change into it. Janbo was feeling quite irritable. His fever had just broken, and now he had to deal with period cramps while performing on stage. Being a woman is hard, but being the leading lady is even harder. Still, he had no choice but to help out. Janbo put on the princess dress. He looked passable. Just then, a text message arrived on the cop's phone. Prove it to me tonight. This is your last chance. Mom. Janbo suddenly realized that the important person Jingtang had mentioned was her mother. Wouldn't that make it incredibly easy to get caught? A man and a woman who swap bodies are now facing a crisis on stage. Only a kiss can set everything right. Will they actually go through with it? The performance was about to begin. Jingtang was stuck in traffic on her way there and might be a little late. She threatened Janbo over the phone, insisting he take the performance seriously. If he messed up, she'd share photos of his pink, girly room. Janbo hung up in a fit of rage. It looked like he really had to give it his all. The announcement sounded. Next, please enjoy the stage play, The Princess and the Assassin. Janbo stepped onto the stage with confident strides. Meanwhile, Jingtang's mother was already in the audience. She sat in the back row, watching silently with a hint of doubt in her heart. Her child had been terrified of the stage since childhood. When did she stop being afraid? Jingtang, in Janbo's body, snuck through the door. She finally made it. Because it was too dark to see the path, she just grabbed a random seat. Once settled, she took a closer look and realized her mother was sitting right next to her. Shocked, she almost blurted out Mom, but quickly covered it by shouting, what a drag. What's so good about such a boring play? She nearly gave herself away. Both of their gazes were drawn to the stage. Janbo's acting wasn't bad. He truly looked like a pitiful little princess who had been betrayed. Jingtang boldly struck up a conversation. Annie, what do you think of the girl playing the princess? The woman was silent for a moment before slowly speaking. She is my daughter. I always hoped she would become a pianist and perform on international stages to make up for my own regrets. But during her exams, she forgot the score. She became afraid of performing and developed stage fright, so she gave up the piano she had practiced for years. Then one day, she told me, "Mom, I've decided to apply for the dance department at Sakura University." It's a pity, isn't it? Suddenly giving up everything she worked for. Jing Tang suddenly spoke up. No, that wasn't giving up. It was a new beginning. She started a new journey. This was the path she chose for herself. Before she could finish, both of them sensed something was wrong on stage. A girl was holding a pair of scissors, about to cut the rope holding the basket above Zhanbo's head. There was no time to think. Jing Tang rushed forward. The basket was blocked by her large frame. It appeared to be a stage accident, and the two of them stood there awkwardly, not knowing what to do. A little girl in the audience understood perfectly and asked her mother, "Mom, is the prince going to kiss the princess now?" So she wakes up. A popular male star rushing onto the stage to save a female college student. This was bound to hit the trending topics. The audience realized the man who rushed on stage was Zhanbo and immediately began filming frantically with their phones. The jealous spirits in the balcony also reacted. The man who stepped in to save the day was Zhanbo. People began to boldly speculate that Zhanbo and the girl were dating. This scene was captured by those with ulterior motives. Tomorrow's headlines were set. Zhanbo, lying on the floor, wondered why she had suddenly run up. The culprit was that girl who had splashed water in the restroom earlier. She had just snipped the rope, and the flower basket nearly crushed Zhanbo. Now that they were both stuck on stage, they had to keep acting. Jing Tang had a sudden brainwave, remembering the prop Rong Yu had given her before she left. It was time to use it. She pulled out a Malteser and began an exaggerated performance. "I have a miracle medicine here. One pill can cure 100 diseases and bring the dead back to life." With that, she stuffed a Malteser into Zhanbo's mouth. If one wasn't enough, she'd give him two. The more, the better. The audience burst into laughter. Was this a comedy? They wondered if Zhanbo had landed an endorsement deal for Maltesers. Jing Tang's mother also began to wonder, did that boy know her daughter? No wonder he was asking about her acting earlier. To resolve the situation, Li Zi stepped forward and announced the end of the performance, thanking Zhanbo for his special guest appearance. The news spread quickly. Zhanbo's fans soon surrounded the school, blocking every exit as they waited for their idol to appear. This was bad. They couldn't leave. Zhanbo had an idea. Wouldn't it work if he just wore the theater troupe's women's clothing? On the other side, the manager also found out about the situation through the trending topics. Zhanbo had been trending constantly lately, and now he was caught in a scandal on stage and mobbed by fans. The boss was furious. The manager was also puzzled. Zhanbo had been running to Sakura University a lot lately. Was he really dating this girl? Since the public was already curious about her, instead of letting rumors spread, it would be better to sign her. That way, they could claim the romance was fake and just a stunt to debut a new artist. The boss agreed. Let's do it. Go to the school, pick up Zhanbo, and talk to that girl. Arriving at the school, the manager felt nostalgic. This was where she had first found Jishan. After receiving Zhanbo's call, she went to the back of the auditorium to meet the cross-dressing master, Zhanbo, a popular star and a female, student swapping bodies and constantly making fools of themselves on stage. His career was on the line. On the path behind the auditorium, Zhanbo waved frantically at the manager. Looking at the woman's lovely appearance, the manager couldn't help but praise him. "Your cross-dressing skills are great. I'll book you for more female lead endorsements and dramas in the future." Hearing this, Jing Tang got excited and shouted, "No way." This finally made the manager notice the girl's presence. "Are you the lead of the play? Get in the car. Let's talk." 30 minutes later, the four of them sat in a neat row. "Jing Tang, right? I don't care what your relationship with Zhanbo is. The best way to handle this right now is for you to sign with me. Letting the scandal ferment will only hurt both of you. Here's the contract. Take a look." Rong Yu chimed in, saying it was just a rumor. What was a wall slam between siblings? Zhanbo had even given her artificial respiration before. At that moment, Jishan stood up and said, "They aren't siblings. Think carefully about whether to sign or not." These words were directed at Jing Tang. She suspected he already knew about the body swap. Zhanbo picked up the contract to examine it, intending to hesitate and ask for Jing Tang's opinion. Unexpectedly, provoked by Jishan, Jing Tang lost her cool and decided to sign the contract immediately. And so, the indenture was signed, even after she returned to her own body. Thus she would still be able to see Jishan often. The girl was so excited that she rolled around on the bed and even fell off, twisting her neck. Jishan witnessed this embarrassing moment. Fortunately, it was Jeanbeau's face that was disgraced. The two of them lay quietly in the secret base. Jing Tang wanted to ask Jishan if he knew about the swap and if he had heard her secret earlier. Before she could ask, Jishan spoke up. "Why didn't you tell us you were dating Jing Tang?" The words dating hit like a thunderclap. How could she be dating someone she disliked? She sat up in shock to deny everything. This answer confirmed Jishan's suspicion. They had swapped souls. A fangirl accidentally swapped bodies with her rival, using this man's body, that she could actually get close to her favorite star, even sharing a room and a bed. Jishan recalled that since returning from the airport, Jeanbeau's behavior had been very unusual. They were together every day, yet he still felt the need to say hello, and he was constantly calling the girl to ask about the past to avoid exposing her. Recalling Jing Tang's earlier claim that she was the real Jeanbeau, it actually seemed quite credible now. The two of them pretending to be inseparable siblings certainly didn't look like they were dating. There was only one truth. They had swapped souls. Knowing the truth, Jishan comforted Jing Tang. "I'll cancel all your solo activities for now. For the ones I can't cancel, I'll go with you." To have her idol accompany her to work, what an incredible perk. Jing Tang was so happy she nearly fainted. Just then, a few texts arrived. Jeanbeau's words were exactly the same as Jishan's. They truly were good brothers. But when an idol wants to accompany you, who would look for that annoying guy? The secret base was too cold, so the two went back inside, where they received a package brought by Rongyu. "Shanji, did you buy a toy? Or did a fan find our address and send it? This thing looks old." Jishan opened the box and said calmly, "This was a birthday gift my mother gave me when I was a child." As for why it was sent back now, he didn't know. Inside the Ji family villa years ago, two children were fighting over a guitar, refusing to let go even while crying. Jishan was usually very yielding, but this guitar was his mother's gift. At that time, his father stepped in to comfort him. "Just give it to your brother. He's a guest, and it's his first time playing at our house. I'll buy you another one later." The young boy, Xiao Yi, grabbed the guitar and headed for the door to leave with his father. Before leaving, the father told Jishan to listen to his mother. They vanished into the winter night. The little boy promised to return it to Jishan next time. He then looked up innocently at his father and asked, "When will you bring me back? And why does he also call you Dad?" The father replied with unusual coldness, "We won't be coming back. Promises are like footprints in the snow, covered up and non-existent." In the end, no one returned. Now, the guitar had been returned to its owner. Who could he be? Just then, Rongyu was throwing a tantrum, scared by the great demon manager. He had forgotten his live stream. His friend Chun, a former fellow trainee who recently went solo as a game streamer, was going to kill him. Jishan found the name very familiar. A male star had left his group due to a teammate's misconduct and became a game streamer, saddled with a $1 million penalty for breach of contract. He even pulled Rongyu along into the Forest of Illusions. This swordsman named Star Rabbit was Chunyi's former group leader. "You're 3 minutes late. I'm leaving." Rongyu desperately tried to make him stay. "You need a pro to carry you in this game." He practically begged for forgiveness. The two of them lay in wait to get the spirit herb, terrified of alerting the big boss. Small fry like them couldn't win a direct fight. Defeating the spirit beast would grant them the herb. Chun-Yi led the charge while Rongyu hung back to scavenge. He was just a little healer dog with no combat power. Chun-Yi went forward to fight, not realizing someone else was eyeing the treasure. A female character named Falling Pear Blossoms descended from the sky. Like Rongyu, she was waiting to reap the rewards without effort. Unexpectedly, this monster was not someone an average person could handle. With Chun-Yi's skillful strikes, the treasure dropped. However, Rongyu couldn't tell which one was the spirit herb, and it was snatched away by Falling Pear Blossoms. She had no class, taking the treasure with barely any effort. Rongyu's demands for it were ignored. Chun-Yi stepped in and snatched it back. The treasure changed hands instantly, and he grabbed Rongyu to make a quick escape. But midair his hand slipped. Rongyu fell to his death and was kicked out of the game. Dissatisfied, he yelled, "Chun-Yi, are you cursed?" Meanwhile, on the other end of the computer, Chun-Yi only cared about Jishan's feelings and told Rongyu to keep it down. Rongyu remembered the mystery package. Could it be Chun-Yi? A former big star, now reduced to a game streamer, facing millions in debt. The night grew deep, and Chun-Yi ended the stream, announcing a hiatus starting tomorrow. Rongyu excitedly explained on his end, "Yes, Chun-Yi is going to record 12 stars tomorrow. Everyone, remember to vote for him." 12 Stars was a show where 28 contestants competed for 12 solo debut spots. The judge for the show happened to be Jeanbeau 30 minutes earlier. Jing Tang looked at Jishan apologetically. She couldn't cancel tomorrow's work as a guest on 12 Stars. The guest appearance had already been announced. Before she could finish, Ji-shan understood her intent and agreed to go along. Jing Tang was thrilled. What could be happier than having your idol accompany you to work? It was a sleepless night. Ji-shan and Jing Tang both appeared at the breakfast table with dark circles under their eyes. Jing Tang had spent the night agonizing over what to wear, too excited to sleep. Ji-shan's reason was unknown. On the way to work, Jing Tang couldn't stay awake and unconsciously leaned her head on Ji-shan's shoulder. A sudden break woke her up. She hurriedly apologized, but Ji-shan didn't get angry. He even told her to sleep peacefully. It felt so warm. Ji-shan also drifted off into a daze. The manager saw the two sleepyheads and yelled, "Wake up, you two!" They had arrived at the recording site. In the hallway, they ran into Chun-Yi. Ji-shan told the girl to go to makeup first while he had something to say. She obediently went into the dressing room. Finding it empty, she turned back to look for Ji-shan, only to overhear some unspeakable secrets. Ji-shan spoke up. He had recognized Chun-Yi as Xiao-Yi, the boy who stole his guitar. Chun-Yi could only tell the truth about that year. Their father hadn't intended to leave Ji-shan behind. He had died in a car accident on the way. It turned out they had the same father. Back then, the mother had lied to Ji-shan, saying Chun-Yi was a friend's son, fearing he would feel resentment. Knowing the truth made Ji-shan even angrier. He had mistakenly thought his father had started another family long ago and left his mother with a mountain of debt after his death. Chun-Yi tried to explain, but Ji-shan's words left him speechless with shame. As the argument grew more heated, people began to gather at the end of the hall. Sensing trouble, Jing Tang stepped in and pulled Ji-shan away, leaving the recording to Rongyu. This was going to be another hot topic. Jing Tang didn't want to see Ji-shan angry anymore. Ji-shan was dejected to realize she now knew the secret of his birth. Jing Tang promised not to tell anyone. This caused Ji-shan's heart to soften completely. He let down his guard and leaned on her shoulder, ignoring the onlookers. He just needed a moment to rest. Taking advantage of a light schedule, Rongyu went to the arcade, thinking a little secret gaming wouldn't be noticed. He saw a claw machine filled with merchandise of their idol group. Rongyu's eyes lit up, and he immediately bought coins. Unfortunately, he was just a little off every time. After 50 failures, but he managed to catch Ji-shan and Janbo dolls, but not one of himself. Just as he was feeling frustrated, a girl passed by. She also seemed interested in the dolls, but not for herself. Her good friend Jing Tang would definitely want a Ji-shan doll. Rongyu noticed her. She must be a fan. What a cute girl. Looking at the two dolls in his hand, he thought about giving them to her so she wouldn't waste money. But just as he was about to offer them, the girl caught a doll with perfect precision on her first try. However, it wasn't Ji-shan, it was Rongyu. This led Rongyu to believe she was a die-hard fan of his. He was thrilled, but the next second, the girl tossed the doll aside with a look of utter disdain. This action shocked Rongyu into shouting. The two of them stood there staring at each other, both thinking the other was a fan of the group. Rongyu then received a distress call and had to rush to the recording. Jing Tang's temporary capture plan had worked. As Rongyu prepared to leave, Li Zi grabbed him and gave him the doll she caught. Now he had all three. Janbo was talking to the manager about an audition. The manager took a call and instantly blew up. Janbo had skipped the 12 stars recording, and the director had called to complain. Janbo immediately checked his phone. Sure enough, that girl had caused trouble again. Her trending constitution was unavoidable. Headlines read, Ji-shan leans on Janbo's shoulder at 12 stars recording. Janbo and Ji-shan leave suddenly. Manager unreachable. Reason for absence unknown. Janbo was still wondering why they ran off. That when a doll was shoved in front of his face. It was a Ji-shan plushie. Why Ji-shan? Janbo asked. It's for Jing Tang, of course. Please give it to her. Janbo took the doll back to the apartment, ready to settle the score. The apartment was filled with tension. Missing a recording for no reason was no small matter. Jing Tang was panicked. She was pulled into the practice room for a proper explanation. Jing Tang apologized repeatedly, but wouldn't give the reason. Janbo threatened that if she didn't talk, he would skip her exams. Jing Tang remembered everything from today. She had promised Ji-shan not to tell. Going back on her word wouldn't be the act of an honorable person. She stubbornly took all the blame herself. This infuriated Janbo. Just as he was about to explode, Ji-shan burst in. Janbo, you've misunderstood. It was because of me. He addressed the girl's body, which meant Ji-shan already knew about their soul swap. Did this mean Jing Tang's feelings for Ji-shan might actually stand a chance? The real Janbo pulled Ji-shan aside and whispered, "What's with the trending topics? You haven't actually fallen for that girl, have you?" Ji-shan didn't answer. A man's heart truly is hard to read. Since they were stuck in each other's bodies, they had to accept their fate. Jishan and Janbo had a drama project together. Jingtang obviously didn't want to miss the chance to be with her idol and begged Janbo to let her participate. He agreed on one condition. His mother was in the hospital, and he hadn't visited in a long time. He needed her to go with him. Today was Jingtang's first time at the company after the swap. She had to explain the absence from 12 stars. An hour later, she breathed a sigh of relief. The manager had scolded Janbo for a full hour. She was scarier than a demon. Suddenly, a pair of delicate hands covered Janbo's eyes. Guess who? Jingtang thought to herself, this guy really is quite the romantic history. She turned around to see the famous child star, Xiaoru. Up close, she was truly beautiful. Jingtang was so nervous, she forgot to let go of her hands. It seemed Janbo and Xiaoru were very close. Xiaoru didn't realize the person in front of her wasn't her friend. I heard your manager's new artist is also auditioning. I think her name is Jingtang. Are you here with her? But the man standing there was actually Jingtang. Since Xiaoru knew her name, she clearly misunderstood her relationship with Janbo. Jingtang waved her hands frantically. No, I'm not familiar with her at all. Xiaoru was skeptical and invited him to see who the final second female lead would be. Just as they were about to get up, Jingtang's body came running from a distance, shouting, I passed the audition. It clearly didn't look like they were unfamiliar. Janbo was really making things difficult. A male star and an ordinary college student swapped bodies. Using his identity, the girl actually met her favorite child star, Xiaoru. But just as she was gaining favor, she was dragged away by Janbo. They had an agreement to visit his mother after the audition. Seeing them so close, Xiaoru couldn't help but feel a sense of loss. Janbo was such a straight man that he couldn't see her feelings. In the hospital, Janbo's mother was surprised by his visit. The real Janbo stood outside the room, seemingly struggling with something. His mother grabbed Janbo's hand and asked, is that dating rumor true or false? Were you going to bring your little girlfriend to see me? This terrified Jingtang. They hadn't even started anything, and she was already being treated like a daughter-in-law. Then the sound outside stopped. Janbo had vanished. After searching for a long time, she found him on a swing set behind the hospital. Jingtang invited him to see his mother. Janbo was scared. He was afraid to face his sick mother and couldn't even force a smile. Following Jingtang's persuasion, Janbo finally agreed to go in. Seeing the two children, his mother was instantly overjoyed. The two of them returned home satisfied. That night, Janbo hid the Jishan doll in the bedding. He wanted to give Jingtang a surprise. Sure enough, seeing the Jishan merch made her incredibly excited. She even thought it was a confession from Jishan, which left Janbo stunned outside the room. At the drama's opening ceremony, the four leads took the stage for photos. Seeing Janbo and Jingtang acting so intimately, Xiaoru grew suspicious. Were the rumors true? After the ceremony, it was time for interviews. Walking behind Jingtang, Xiaoru noticed the girl didn't seem to know how to walk in high heels. She was moving slowly and was so mesmerized by the person in front of her that she accidentally stepped on the back of her own shoe. Jingtang stumbled right into Janbo's arms. Xiaoru was truly the perfect wingman, but Jingtang's ankle, that was indeed sprained. This made Janbo very anxious. He immediately picked her up in a bridal carry and took her to the lounge. In the dressing room, Jingtang carefully checked her ankle and massaged it. Janbo was a man. How could he know how to walk in heels? It was all because of the swap. Jingtang gave him a gentle reminder. Next time, stay close to me. Everything was overheard by Xiaoru outside the door. The words body swap echoed in her ears. What did that mean? Her thoughts were interrupted by Jishan. Miss Xia, do you enjoy eavesdropping? Xiaoru didn't mean it. She had just bought some ointment for Jingtang and overheard by accident. She stuffed the ointment into Jishan's arms and ran off. Xiaoru had unintentionally caused Jingtang to fall into Janbo's arms, which had hit the trending topics. Gossip accounts were stirring up trouble with all sorts of stories. Xiaoru was worried her actions would cause a misunderstanding between them. While she was feeling down, Jingtang brought her a cup of coffee. I bought coffee for the whole crew to keep everyone energized for the night's shoot. Xiaoru happily accepted it and asked if her ankle was okay. Jingtang didn't blame her at all. It's fine. It's just that I'm not good at walking in heels. It has nothing to do with you. Just then, Janbo knocked, informing them that the amusement park had been cleared for their shoot. Jingtang hurried off. Xiaoru had wanted to ask about earlier, but didn't. Jingtang was so considerate. That body swap thing must have been a mistake. That night, they filmed in front of the Ferris wheel. In the scene, the girl acts spoiled and asked to ride it. As the Ferris wheel reached the highest point, Jingtang was thrilled by the beautiful night view. Legend says that two people who kiss on a Ferris wheel will share a miraculous fate. During filming, the Ferris wheel malfunctioned. All the staff went to check on it, leaving only Jean Bo and Jing Tang inside the cabin. It was pitch black. Jing Tang was a bit scared and stood up to find Jean Bo. In the darkness, the two of them accidentally bumped into each other and kissed. As fireworks exploded outside, a familiar pain surged through them. Their identities had swapped back. Because of a random kiss, they were back in their own bodies. The lights on the Ferris wheel returned, and the director asked to reshoot. But neither of them knew the lines, so they had to memorize them all over again. After finishing work, Jean Bo suggested staying out all night. Since the crew had the park booked until morning, it was a celebration of their successful swap back. Jishan was curious about how they had managed to return to normal. Neither of them wanted to say, so they made excuses to flee. In the shadows, Xiaoru watched them, wishing she could join in the fun. Jishan spotted her and invited her to join. Chun Yi had also come to the park for Jishan, claiming to be a chess lover, but actually there for Rongyu. Outside the park, Li Zi was trying to prove to the security guard that she was friends with the stars. Rongyu happened to see this. After reuniting, he realized the fairy from the arcade and the bandit from the game were the same person. The world is truly small. Under the night sky, Jean Bo and Jing Tang sat on the ground. Jing Tang thanked him for the incredible adventure. But the dream is over now. Jing Tang was back to being an ordinary college student. She stood up to leave, but Jean Bo grabbed her. He finally spoke his heart. In my eyes, you aren't ordinary. Because you're the only anti-fan who can swap with me and make my heart skip a beat. How could you be ordinary?